Ultra marathons, we go into them with such optimism and hope. We hit the accept on all the risk and pay for the race. We put in hundreds of miles and thousands of feet of vert, though vert's not real. We visualize the race, the aid stations, the finish line, and the feel of accomplishing something great. We make plans, pace plans, fuel plans, travel plans, potty plans. No? Just me? Okay. And we compulsively check the weather. The race day comes, and we end up with the race we got and not the race we planned for. Burning River was just that race for myself. So let's talk about the lead up to Burning River. I put in thousands of feet of not real vert, tens of thousands, actually, I don't know how many, and somewhere around 850 miles during this training block. A week out, during my taper, I was feeling very confident, looking at my mileage, thinking about the course, compulsively checking the weather. I don't know why, but I just figured it was going to rain that day. And it did, and we'll talk about that in a second. So, head up Friday morning to the Sheraton in Cuyahoga Falls, kind of the base headquarters for the Burning River. Get checked in. They have a great tent, great atmosphere. Hi Ho Brewery has long, slow distance craft beer. If you want one, Hoka One One's set up. They have a huge shop of merchandise and some guy selling craft pickle juice. It's a great atmosphere. High spirits. I go out to eat, get some carbs, and come back and get to bed. I think at like 9 o'clock. This never happens. I actually fall asleep. And for me, that's really where the wheels fell off for Burning River. By 11 o'clock, I was awake with bad diarrhea and vomiting, and this persisted all morning. The only positive, I think, at that time was looking at the weather, and it was still going to be dry, nice and cool. I think like a high of 82 or 83, and not too muggy. So I start taking Pepto, I start taking Tums, Vrolaids, like anything that I could find to help remedy my problems. No luck. I keep getting ready, because to me this is not a good enough reason not to start the race that I've worked so hard for. Then, I get my feet taped up, I get my gear on, and I go outside, and it's raining. And it's not just raining lightly. Now looking at the radar out of nowhere, it's calling for rain for the next 2 to 3 hours. And with that, I knew it was going to be a long day, starting out. So quickly went back inside, taped my feet in a couple different areas, which I'll say that my pre-adhesive and my taping in my feet were probably the only thing that got me through this race. Because even to this point, I'd maybe consumed 20 ounces of water and 300 calories, as I couldn't keep it down. But we head off. Great atmosphere at the start line. And
wondering if thousands of miles away the sky's just as blue. It's as if I'm stuck in yesterday when I'm thinking of you. 'Cause when you have your morning coffee, I'm turning out the lights so I could dream. And when you smile through the screen, I wish you could be with me. So I lay my head to rest when the sun is rising. I'll start a brand new day when the moon is shining. I long to be with you in all the places you have been. So today I am time traveling. Da-da-da-da. Oh, today I am time traveling.
And every time that you are closing your eyes,
3 miles in.
I will be beside
Feeling really good.
and my
Other
heart
than
will
the rain.
glide across the miles to fly right to you. 'Cause when I dive into the traffic, are here. I'm never tired of your laughing so far, but ever so near. So I lay my head to rest when the sun is rising. I start a brand new day around the moon is shining. I long to be with you in all the places you have been.
So making it through the first 10 miles, definitely on pace. I had my father, my crew member, go get some Imodium to take as well at North Hawkins, the first crew aid station. But still, I think I was able to get like 1 gel in me and maybe 20 ounces of water during this, but it was definitely causing a lot of stomach issues, and the rain was just continuously pouring.
All right, 12.5 miles in, a lot of standing water, a lot of mud, but feeling good. Gotcha, man.
Great job, dude.
You too. If you have any extra energy, I'll take it.
I'll let you know at the end.
You're killing it though. Rain is finally stopped, but the GI issues continue to persist, and that's definitely troublesome, as I've been able to get a lot of calories in. I know that's gonna come back to haunt me, but outside of that, race is going as expected, and I think I'm currently ahead of my goal pace, so winning there. All right, so 21 miles in. Trail has been super muddy, slow. I've not been really able to consume any calories since mile 10. I'm really feeling it. But still moving forward. Hopefully can still turn this around and finish with a decent time.
I moved on from mile 10 to roughly mile 35. A lot of this was just an absolute swamp. Parts of it may have been runnable, nothing downhill or uphill because of traction, a lot of standing water and mud, which really just ate at the feet, the hip flexors, and the stability muscles. By the time that I got to Pine Hollow, which was like mile 34, mile 35, the second aid station, I felt like I was already through 50 miles. The only good thing is I had not puked in the last 5 or maybe 10 miles at that point for the last couple hours. So I get into Pine Hollow, and I spent a lot of time here, way more than I should, probably about 30 or 40 minutes, but I immediately got my shoes and socks and tape off and started getting my feet dried out. I ate some watermelon, was able to keep that down, changed out a shirt just to feel fresh, took more Tums and Pepto to keep my stomach quiet, and I think I consumed between a ginger ale and some Powerade, another 20 or 30 ounces of liquid, which was really smart. Then quickly got my feet taped back up, used a massage gun quite a bit on my legs, and while the Newtons I had been wearing, which are absolutely destroyed, hadn't been bad, just all the mud and dirt in them made me move away from them. And while the Newton Boco ATs are designed for a lot of different terrain, I'm not sure anything would have been designed for that kind of mud. So I went to switch them out and put on a pair of Speedgoat 4s, but my feet were just so swollen and sore. The toe box hurt just putting my feet into the shoes for the Speedgoat. So quickly threw an Audible and got out an old pair of Ultra Olympus 3.5s and rode those out for the last 15, 16 miles, with a good part of that being road miles. The last 15 miles, actually, I don't have a lot of footage here. I have a little bit of the cliffs, but it started to pick up, but my legs were just so spent and I was so calorie depleted. I didn't have a lot in me, but I did relentlessly move forward. Did still pass like 15 or 20 people in those miles, so very proud of that.
All right, I owe you guys an update. It's mile 36. Pace fell to shit. The rain just turned everything to mud. A lot of it couldn't run. Couldn't go downhill without sliding, falling. I just made it really slow. The good news is that my GI issues just about gone. So been able to take in a few calories. So feeling a little bit better getting out of that wall. But stopped raining, so it's nice and humid now. Can't win them all, right? But still making progress with like 15 miles to go. One other thing, I did change my shoes and socks out at the aid station. My crew, my feet look like a total hamburger, but it's nice. I went from the Newton Boco ATs to an older pair of Ultra Olympus 3.5. So the softness is definitely helping and will help tremendously on that last few miles. It's the bike path.
I've been on the road, I've been doing shows. Now we eating steak, remember sleeping on the floor. Stealing at the gas station when the time was cold. In the kitchen, hot still trying to flip it out the stove. Rocking fake J's, praying that nobody know. Watch them take my dog away, it was way too hard to stay composed. Fight to see the light of day, all this blood on my clothes. I was tired every day, green light, it's time to go. I don't wanna live life fast or die too young. Die too young. 100 miles per hour, I might crash, cause the good die young. Yeah, the good die young. Push it to the limit, I can't go no more.
Freeway from Ohio, reach up doors.
I'ma be the greatest, I'm a name in stone. I'm a name in stone.
Justin Hall, Kentucky, finishing his 50 mile.
So thinking really what went right during this race, great attitude. By all means, I could have thrown in the towel at any point, and I didn't. Really taped my feet well. It's something that I've been working on, and just relentlessly went forward. Great support all around. I was getting a lot of text messages, and I ran with a lot of great people. The gentleman in the early miles that was telling me how his dad, who had crewed for like 2 decades for him, had passed away in February. Enjoyed a few miles with him. The mother and daughter that I spent a couple miles with, I think at mile like 8, 9, going into the first aid station, that the mother had never ran more than a marathon, but she wanted to do this with her daughter. What a great story. The nice lady that I ran with, somewhere probably around mile 20 to 40, somewhere in there, we passed each other a couple times, but had never ran more than a half marathon at this point. But she really wanted to do it. She was killing it, and we shared a lot of David Goggins quotes back and forth that lifted the mood to keep us going. And then just all the other people that I got to spend a few moments of that day with. You all made it really special. I love Burning River because the atmosphere is so great. The aid station's so great. The aid stations are just tremendous overall, and everyone really cares. So moving forward, what's next for me at this point? Well, the next thing for me is going to be the Cloud Splitter 100K in October. Going to really push myself here for this race. A lot more climbing than I'm used to. A little bit longer of a distance as well. But a generous cutoff and hopefully no stomach issues. So thank you. I hope all of you have some great trail adventures lined up and continue to enjoy your journey.